When determining the appropriate charge for wiring 12 chandeliers in a church, several factors must be considered. These include time and labor, complexity, location, insurance, and materials. Let's examine each of these in detail. First, estimate the total time required. This includes not only the actual wiring of each chandelier, but also the time spent on preparation, material gathering, and cleanup. Consider the time it takes to travel to the church and any other trips needed for supplies. It is important to factor in the cost of materials and your hourly rate for labor to arrive at a comprehensive estimate. Secondly, assess the complexity of the job. Determine whether the wiring is straightforward or if there are any complications or additional requirements. Some of the electrical boxes may require additional work. If the existing wiring is outdated or requires modifications, this will add to the overall time and complexity. Thirdly, consider the location. Factor in travel time to and from the church. Also, consider any additional expenses associated with the location, such as parking fees or tolls. Fourthly, insurance and liability are critical. Ensure you have the necessary insurance and liability coverage to perform the work safely and legally. This protects you and the church in case of any accidents or damages during the job. Fifthly, consider the materials. Estimate the cost of all the necessary materials. This includes wiring, connectors, junction boxes, and any other hardware required for the installation. It is crucial to use high-quality materials that meet electrical code standards. Based on these considerations, our recommended range for your charges can be determined. For the hourly rate, a range of $50 to $100 per hour is reasonable, depending on your experience and the local market rates. For materials, estimate $20 to $50 per chandelier to cover the costs of wiring, connectors, and other hardware. The estimated time per chandelier is approximately 2 to 4 hours. This depends on the complexity of the wiring and the condition of the existing electrical boxes. Let's look at example calculations. If the job requires 2 hours of labor per chandelier and you charge $75 per hour, the labor cost for wiring 12 chandeliers would be calculated as follows. 12 chandeliers multiplied by 2 hours per chandelier multiplied by $75 equals $1,800. The material cost would be 12 chandeliers multiplied by $30 per chandelier, which equals $360. The total cost would be the labor cost plus the material cost, which equals $2,160. It is prudent to offer a fixed price for the entire job rather than an hourly rate to avoid any surprises for the customer. This provides cost certainty and can help build trust. Be sure to provide a written quote outlining the scope of work, materials, and your charges. This protects both you and the pastor and ensures that there is a clear understanding of the project. It is important to get the pastor's approval before starting the job. This avoids any potential disputes or misunderstandings later on. Take before and after photos for documentation purposes. This provides a record of the work completed and can be helpful in case of any future issues or insurance claims. It is also important to adhere to all relevant electrical codes and safety standards. This ensures the safety of the installation and compliance with local regulations. For example, National Electrical Code, NEC, Section 314.16 covers the number of conductors allowed in outlet, device, and junction boxes. Also, NEC Section 310.15 provides guidance on opacity of conductors. Regarding the wiring, ensure that the wire gauge is appropriate for the load of the chandeliers. Generally, for lighting circuits, 14 American wire gauge, AUG, or 12 AWG wire is used, but consult the NEC Table 310.15 for appropriate opacity based on wire type and insulation temperature rating. Connect all ground wires properly to ensure safety and prevent electrical shock. Use wire connectors that are rated for the wire gauge and application. Make sure all connections are secure and insulated to prevent shorts. If the chandeliers have metal frames, ensure that the frames are properly grounded. Check that the electrical boxes are securely mounted and in good condition. If the boxes are damaged or loose, replace them before wiring the chandeliers. Use appropriate strain relief methods to prevent the weight of the chandeliers from pulling on the wires. If the chandeliers have multiple circuits, label the wires clearly to avoid confusion. Use a multimeter to test the voltage and continuity of the wiring before and after installation. Ensure that the circuit breakers are properly sized for the lighting load. If the circuit breakers are too small, they may trip frequently. If they are too large, they may not protect the wiring from overloads. Follow all manufacturers' instructions for installing the chandeliers. Some chandeliers may have specific wiring requirements. Consider using energy-efficient light bulbs in the chandeliers to reduce energy consumption and save the church money. LED bulbs are a good option. Provide the church with a copy of the wiring diagram and any other relevant documentation. This will be helpful for future maintenance and repairs. Be professional and courteous throughout the job. This will help build a good relationship with the church and may lead to future work. Follow up with the church after the job is completed to ensure that they are satisfied with the work. Address any concerns or issues promptly. Obtain all necessary permits and approvals before starting the job. This is required by local electrical codes. Consider using surge protectors to protect the chandeliers from power surges. This can help prolong the life of the light bulbs and prevent damage to the wiring. Clean up the work area thoroughly after the job is completed. Dispose of all waste materials properly. Inspect the wiring and connections regularly to ensure that they are in good condition. This will help prevent future problems. Be aware of the potential hazards of working with electricity. Use caution and follow all safety procedures. Always turn off the power before working on any electrical wiring. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as safety glasses and gloves. Avoid working in wet or damp conditions. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, hire a qualified electrician. It is better to be safe than sorry. Keep a detailed record of all the work performed. This will be helpful for future reference. Consider offering a warranty on your work. This will give the church peace of mind. Be responsive to the church's needs and concerns. This will help build trust and rapport. Maintain a positive attitude throughout the job. This will make the experience more enjoyable for everyone involved. Communicate effectively with the church throughout the job. Keep them informed of your progress and any issues that arise. Be respectful of the church's property and beliefs. This will help build a positive relationship. Dress appropriately for the job. This will convey professionalism and respect. Be punctual and reliable. This will show the church that you value their time. Be honest and transparent in your dealings. This will build trust and credibility. Provide the church with a detailed invoice outlining all the charges. This will help avoid any misunderstandings. Be willing to negotiate the price if necessary. This will help you reach a mutually agreeable agreement. Be flexible and adaptable to the church's needs. This will help you provide the best possible service. Be patient and understanding. This will help you deal with any challenges that may arise. Be professional and ethical in all your dealings. This will help you build a good reputation. By following these guidelines, you can ensure that you are charging a fair price for your services and that you are providing the church with a high-quality wiring job. Always remember safety first. Now, if there are dimmers involved in the circuit, you should factor in the compatibility of the chandeliers to be able to be dimmed. The rating of the dimmer is also important because it is not a one-size-fits-all. The dimmer switch needs to be rated to handle the load of all 12 chandeliers or it will burn out. Also, when thinking about the different scenarios, you need to think about if you are going to use an LED driver or not. These need to be wired in series and parallel, but that depends on the voltage and current requirements of the LED string. Using a constant current LED driver is preferred because it regulates the current through the LED string and compensates for voltage variations to maintain consistent brightness and prevent thermal runaway. Constant voltage drivers need resistors to limit the current through the LED, but the power dissipated in the resistors is wasted as heat. Make sure that the chandeliers are spaced apart evenly for uniform lighting. Think about this for a moment. The uneven spacing will create dark spots and reduce the overall effectiveness of the lighting. Speaking of lighting, think about the light temperature or Kelvin rating that will be emitted as well. It is important to think about this because this can affect mood and visual comfort. Also, you could suggest to the pastor about doing a lighting control system that would allow them to adjust the light levels and create different scenes for various events. This could include features such as dimming occupancy sensors and timers. Wireless lighting control systems offer flexibility and scalability, but they may require additional hardware and programming. Before the start of the job, make sure there is a designated contact person at the church to address questions or concerns during the project. Confirm whether the church has any specific preferences or requirements for the installation, such as the type of wiring or the placement of the chandeliers. Coordinate with the church to schedule the work at a time that minimizes disruption to their activities or services. Communicate any potential delays or changes in the schedule to the church promptly and clearly. If the church has any existing lighting control systems, ensure that the new chandeliers are compatible and integrated seamlessly. Provide training or instructions to the church staff on how to operate and maintain the new lighting system. If the chandeliers require specialized cleaning or maintenance, inform the church about the proper procedures. Be prepared to answer any questions or concerns that the church may have about the project, even after the installation is complete. By addressing these additional considerations, you can ensure that the chandelier wiring project is successful and meets the needs of the church.